I'm in press communications at Mercedes-Benz, specifically for self-driving cars, autonomous driving. I'm 37 years old, with Daimler, not too long, just joined 3 years ago. Before that I was in communications as well, technical communications, and what I'm really interested in is obviously technology. That's what fascinates me. How do things actually work? My mom complained when I was a little kid that I took the radios apart and couldn't get them back together. Anyway, right now I tend not to do that. I talk about it, and the most interesting part at the moment is obviously how something works, but what does it change in society? And if it has a big impact on that, that's something that I really go by, and I'm glad that I can do that with self-driving cars, because we can talk about how do they function, how do they work, but most interestingly, what will they do to you and me, and how will they change our lives? Self-driving cars are really fascinating. I think they give you the time of your life, meaning, I mean, not like a Dirty Dancing obviously, but they give me time to do something else. And yes, I do like driving, obviously, most people do in a way, but not in everyday situations where you're stuck in traffic or have a very monotonous, like the same routine over and over. If I could do other things, sleep, eat, work, watch a movie, that's something I'd really, really like. And the potential of cars that you don't have to drive yourself, they're changing society in a tremendous way, and that's why I think a lot of people have a big opinion on it, and I can't wait for the self-driving cars to actually be here. When I talk to people, most of the time I have the impression that they think self-driving cars are just around the corner, or that you just need to flick a button and they're there. That's not really the case. There's a lot of work that needs to still be put into the cars, a lot of data to be gathered, situations to be analyzed, and people are driving differently in different countries. There's different traffic rules. They might look familiar, but yet there's these little things that you really need to pay close attention to. That's something we really want to work on and show the people what it is that we still need to work on, so that they understand that they are definitely coming, but it's a technology project that needs some development work still, and once it's there, that they ideally appreciate it for what it is, that it's a really well-crafted masterpiece in whatever way. We're working on that, and I'm really excited to go on this journey and communicate this effort that we're actually doing. Well, the intelligent world drive is a kind of a funny idea at first. Like, why would you go to so many different countries, and why don't you just do it in front of your doorstep where you have all the infrastructure? If you've been to another country, most of the time you won't have a problem finding your way around. There's a subway maybe, or you hail a cab, and yeah, you have a different currency in your pocket, but the basic system is the same. And the same as goes for driving. I mean, people drive everywhere, yet it's the little things like what currency you pay your cab driver, is the subway station, do you pay your ticket before you get on the train, or you get it on the train? It's those little things that you need to understand, and then you, as a tourist, find your way around. And well, if you think about the car as a student on student exchange, and is making some learning experiences, gathering some data, is looking at how do people drive in China, how do they drive in Australia, in South Africa, in the United States. A lot of things are very different, very similar, but the differences is that's what we're looking for, and that's what we want to concentrate on, to find strange, difficult situations and make sure that our driver assistance systems are up for that task when we get out the next generation. I myself, for example, was a high school exchange student when I was 16, and I've been on some other exchange programs later in my life as well. And I made the experience that I just, obviously there's a lot of people that you can talk to, and you find your way around, you can get your food and everything, that's very easy, yet a lot of things are different, and you learn a lot on those trips. And that's what we want to do with the car. The car is the student, and we want to take it on a student exchange trip to different countries and make a big learning experience. And with that learning experience, coming back home at the end of the day, obviously, and then make good sense of the things we learned on our way, and get that input into the development phase of our new and upcoming driver assistance systems, so we can get the best system out on the market. Ideally on this trip, not everything will go smoothly, and I don't say that I don't want to get into an accident or anything, obviously. We want to stay safe, and we're making sure that we are staying safe. What I mean with not everything going smoothly or exactly right, meaning we're looking for difficult situations where the radar or beeps at us and we get some warning signals, even though they weren't really supposed to give us warning signals. And when we get that, we can look at the data that we gathered, see what did the car sense, was it the correct thing, or maybe we need to tweak and twerk our algorithms of the car a little bit more so that we can safeguard the system even more. Safety is a big priority for Mercedes-Benz, and we put a lot of work into the so-called false positives, meaning when something is wrong, obviously the car should step in and save us, but if something is right, it should not give us an alarm, because if that is happening, I'm annoyed and might turn off the system. And a really good system does not trigger when it's not supposed to. And by trying to find difficult situations, we can get that data in order to really make sure that those false positives are taken care of. The Intelligent World Drive will take us, after we started here in Frankfurt, to Shanghai in China. Our first stop, very exciting city. I've been there once, and it's crazy but beautiful, and China is very different, so it's quite a big challenge as a first step. Afterwards, we're going to Australia, huge country. We can't manage to drive all around, but Melbourne will be our destination there. Beautiful city again. We're not going there because it's beautiful, but they have like some really funny ways to turn right, which on their sense is the more difficult turn. We're going to look at that at the so-called hook turn. South Africa will be next, Cape Town. We're going to cruise around there. We'll find some difficult spots there, definitely. And last but not least, Las Vegas in the United States. Probably going to stop over in LA too, because there's some crazy traffic jams I hear. They have carpool lanes, all that good stuff, and a self-driving car at the end of the day needs to deal with those situations as well. So we're going to look at that. Most difficult situation on the trip might just be not having a straight road where nothing happens. We want stuff to happen, and like not bad things, but unexpected things. And well, we were expecting the unexpected, but we cannot, trigger it, and we cannot enforce it. And if we would, it would not be a natural driving situations, and that's what we're looking for. So we're going through dense city traffic, and just hope that we'll get into situations that we have not expected before. And since that is really hard to plan, or not to plan at all, I'm really hoping we'll find some really nice situations where we get a big learning curve out of. But I've been to Beijing and I've been to Shanghai. Both cities seem to me very different, but obviously like crazy large cities with a lot of history, but skyscrapers, huge buildings, a lot of people on the streets, on the roads, and yeah, the cab driver I had in Shanghai, I didn't feel that comfortable with. I felt a little more secure in the Transrapid, the train that goes more than 400 kilometers an hour, like really one of the fastest trains that's out there. The cab driver was going left and right and speeding, and I had no idea what's happening. Maybe I had no idea about the traffic rules. Maybe he was just driving in a way I'm not used to. Who knows? But we're going to look at those situations with the car, and I'm really excited to take a look at the data, or actually talk to my colleagues about what they see out of the data, because I'm not really able to read those little data sets that we get out of it. In China, traffic is a lot different. One big thing there is that on a highway, on a multi-lane highway, there's different speed limits according to each lane. And our cars can take the current speed limit, put it into the adaptive cruise control, so the driver doesn't need to change the speed, and it assists you with driving. In order to do that, it needs to know what's the speed limit in the first place. And if you cannot exactly locate the car in each lane, then it's hard to do. So we want to look at the data and maybe find a way to get that positioning so precise that we can get this speed limit assist out in China as well on those specific roads. That's just one example, but we'll probably find a lot more things that are in China that will be interesting for us to see. So this car is a special car. It looks from the outside like a regular S-Class, but we have a lot of other equipment in there. There's a huge computer in there. There's many cameras that just look out on the streets to see what a driver would see as well. And the sensors like the radar, camera, ultrasonic, GPS, all that, they are hooked up to that computer so we can read and see what they see. And they're, well, if there's something going on around it, it will measure that and take that into account. And yeah, we will look at those situations where this data is coming from. And if the more difficult the situation, the more crazy the data and more complicated, but that's what we're looking for, and we want to make sure our system is safe and will assist the driver in a really good way. And we're hoping we can tweak and twerk the system to give even more support to the driver and take our driver assistance systems to the next level.